Hello and welcome to this episode of the In the Den podcast. I won't be too long, it's just to let you know that the audio doesn't sound as crisp in this podcast. We weren't able to record on a laptop, we had to record on our phones. So apologies for that, but I hope you still enjoy this episode of the In the Den podcast. Hello and welcome to the In the Den podcast. I am your host Craig Denham, and today I'm being joined by
None other than Luca Diaferia.
big man Luca Diaferia. It's been like maybe 6 years since we last had a phone call.
A proper one, yeah.
A proper one, yeah. Like we've spoken like a little bit, like in between, but like we haven't had like a proper like sit down phone call for about 6 years. So it feels weird to hear your lovely Essex voice again.
Nah, don't ever say that again. Hertfordshire born and bred. Don't ever.
No. I hear the Essex voice.
I'm adopted.
Shut up.
I was born in Barnet, North London, and grew up in Bournemouth, and that's always going to be the case, and nothing's going to change it.
Yeah, I mean, you were born in Barnet and grew up in Bournemouth, but you do sound like you're from Essex now.
Oh no, that's bad, but I can't change that.
Fair enough. I did have an order of like things that we could talk about, but I'm gonna not scrap it, just like turn it around a bit, because I was going to talk about Arsenal at the end, but I think it's quite appropriate to talk about Arsenal right now. So we're recording this the day after the Premier League restart, where Arsenal lost. Arsenal lost.
No,
3-0.
David Luiz lost 3-0.
David Luiz. No, David Luiz is only on the pitch for like 2. No, he actually was on the pitch for all the goals.
And he
shocking.
caused 2, so.
Yeah, I mean, I got the highlights, but it was shocking.
I was saying to my dad, who's Chelsea through and through, and he found it hilarious, but I was saying, I'll be happy with a 0-0, and then David Luiz comes on, and then does that. I jinxed it for our fan base.
Yeah,
so I'm partly responsible.
I predicted a 3-1 loss to Arsenal, so even when I set on my expectations unproceedingly low, we still fucking didn't even score. So, you know, like Arsenal still, you know, never fail to disappoint me. So, yeah, it's a very bad time to be an Arsenal fan at the moment. I mean, isn't it always a bad time to be an Arsenal fan at this point? But yeah, it does kind of suck at the moment.
I just miss Henry and Bergkamp just growing up.
Mate. I mean, like, even if you think about like a team that we had like 4 years ago, like when Ozil was in form, and like Giroud was okay that year.
I didn't think we realised how lucky we were winning 3 FA Cups consistently and getting second the year that Leicester won the league. I think looking back on it, we were a bit ungrateful and how well Wenger actually performed.
I think
considering.
Yeah, go for it.
Go on.
No, you go.
Considering the side that we had compared to like Man United, even Man United when they were bad, but they still had like some big names in the squad.
Yeah.
Chelsea, City, full of talent. Considering we actually got second in an FA Cup in the last, and the thing what's really annoying, everyone's saying Spurs is better than us. In the last 10 years, we've been considered the worst team in North London, but we still won 3 trophies. Yeah. So I don't know what Spurs fans are talking about.
Well, you could argue that financially they've done better, and you could also argue as well that competitively, even though they haven't won anything, that they're still considered a better team than Arsenal. And I'd have to concede.
But what defines a team, though, Craig? Where you come in the league, or how many trophies you win?
I'd say where you come in the league, because if you really think about it, does the FA Cup count for an awful lot? I mean, it would have done maybe 10, 15 years ago, but it doesn't really now. It's just another trophy that you compete in, and if you win, it's great, but it's not the be-all and end-all, you know?
The last trophy Spurs ever won was a Carling Cup, and they think it's a World Cup.
Yeah,
so.
but would you still consider that Spurs are in a better situation, considering that they'd be competing in the top competition in Europe? Arguably, they have some of the best assets in Europe, and also best stadium and probably the world at this point. And you could also argue as well that like top four finishes consistently for the last 4 seasons is impressive.
That is a very fair point, but still, I don't know. Like, if you ask most fans, they would say they'd rather win trophies. And, like, if you ask, for example, West Ham or a lower down
Yeah,
team, if you honestly ask them, would you rather win an FA Cup or get in the Champions League? Sadly, some would say Champions League just
yeah,
for the money, but a lot of hardcore fans would say I'd rather win a trophy
yeah,
because you're never going to remember, like Leeds, for example, they've gone to the Champions League a few times, but they have nothing to name from that
mm,
now. They have nothing. Oh, you qualified for the Champions League 20 years ago. Wow, what an achievement. If you said you won the league or won a cup, you'd be like, oh, okay,
yeah,
you actually pulled something off.
yeah.
It
But
doesn't
it,
stand for much in the long run,
but
if
if
you know what I
if
mean.
if you're thinking about a bigger team such as like the top six, or like even right now, you could even argue that Leicester and Wolves are kind of a top eight side. I think that's kind of how we're talking nowadays. Unfortunately, um, I mean, could you not argue that if you were to ask kind of the top half of the table, if that they wanted an FA Cup or Champions League football, that they'd probably want Champions League football?
Yes,
Yeah,
but yes, but like lower down league,
yeah,
unless you're a Spurs fan, Spurs will ask for a trophy. But
yeah.
Man City, I reckon they'd rather get in the Champions League.
Yeah, but like, I still sit here and think that if you look at, I think Spurs are a prime example that and I think United and Arsenal are as well. That Spurs are considered a better team than United and Arsenal, and that's
But
not.
we've still won it. But like what I'm saying, Man City, Man United have had a poor run in the last ever since Ferguson
Yeah,
left.
yeah,
Left, but in that year they won the Carling Cup, I think, the
mm,
FA Cup. No, the Community Shield, the FA Cup, and Europa League
yeah,
in a
oh,
season, and that's more than Spurs have ever picked up. So,
yeah,
and they considered. Do you understand what I mean?
yeah.
Spurs' arguments, yeah.
But like even so, like you could say that like Spurs are still considered the more successful club. I think
In the
the
league, maybe,
yeah,
but
but I think overall, I mean it does depend. But if I was like a top player and if I'm not being biased, because if I got a transfer offer from Spurs, I wouldn't fucking go ever. But but like if Spurs was to offer any top player a transfer versus United or Arsenal, you'd probably go to Spurs.
I don't know.
I mean, like if
Not maybe instead of Arsenal, but not Man United. They got
mm,
such a name. Like, think about it. When they were doing bad, the
yeah,
likes of Di Maria still signed.
yeah,
So they still have the power because they're up there with Madrid
yeah.
and Barcelona.
Well, I think they're up
There's
there.
periods
They're up.
when Barcelona hadn't won a
Yeah,
European trophy for 30 years
yeah,
before they won it in 2006. So
yeah.
you can always there's that argument.
I think
Like
I think that United are in better stead than Arsenal because they're financially better than Arsenal. So like
and they're willing to invest in the team.
and you could also
Kroenke doesn't want to spend any money because he's too
yeah,
busy thinking about American football.
yeah, that annoys me because I think that not, but like you could also argue that Manchester United are a better brand than Arsenal are. Like Manchester United, even though they're competing in Europa League football, and that they've been
Yeah,
doing
just because of the
yeah,
success they've had.
yeah, and just because of like Sir Alex Ferguson and like Cantona, Beckham, Rooney, Ronaldo, you've got all those
You could
players that
reel the
yeah.
Arsenal legends off though as well.
Yeah, but I think in terms of like I mean if you think about it, you know, Beckham and Ronaldo are probably the two biggest superstar footballers. Not in terms of maybe their ability, I think that you could argue that forever.
Yes, but in the
But like
fashion world,
but in
and
the fashion
it's
world
like
and yeah,
it's like Michael Jordan. He was
yeah.
probably one of the best basketball players ever.
Mm,
But what makes him even better is the way he's been branded. So
yeah.
LeBron James might be um uh he could be better. Some people argue. I don't know if you like basketball or not,
I'm not
but
really
he
into it,
could.
no.
Yeah, but like he's been to go off topic, but he's been considered one of the best ever as well. And there's always the argument who's better. Because
Yeah,
Jordan's been branded for 20 years and has his
yeah,
own sub brand, he's always going to have that advantage in that he's so much more followed
yeah,
as an icon. So it's like Maradona and Messi.
mm,
Maradona might be considered better by our dad's generations
yeah,
because that's who they grew up with. But he
mm,
was not branded nowhere near as much as Messi has been in his
yeah,
career. And I think that's why younger people they see more of Messi.
yeah,
You see more of the foot. It's like Gary Lineker once said, you saw the best players only in the World Cup because you'd
yeah,
rarely get the foreign leagues on your TV. But now you get all the foreign leagues on your TV,
yeah,
everyone can have a more of an opinion
yeah. So
if you understand.
yeah. So I think you know, I think Spurs are the better team on paper, but I think financially United are the best team in the league in terms of what they can
Yeah,
bring in. City,
and what
obviously,
they can pull off.
yeah, City could pull off anything at this point as well. Uh, and I think Arsenal are seriously, in a rut because Leicester and Wolves are kind of pulling ahead. Chelsea and Liverpool, Liverpool in their own league at the moment. But Chelsea, they signed Timo Werner this morning. Kai
Yeah,
Havertz is on the cards. Ben Chilwell's on the card. Arsenal are really looking at the moment to be, you know,
but
a mid
what?
table side.
Yes, that's true. But what I think is everyone's arguing that Liverpool have been so much better.
Yeah,
Well, do you think the league has got worse? Because if you think about 20 odd years ago, you
yeah,
had a good Liverpool side, you had a good Man United side, you had the unbeatables.
yeah,
You had the leftovers of the treble United side,
yeah,
the unbeatables. Chelsea were very good. That's when
yeah,
Lampard, Terry, and all them sort of players started coming through.
yeah,
And then you got that top four, and then you had like the likes of well, like Leicester now would be like Bolton and all of that,
yeah,
and Leeds, and they all got like European football consistently,
mm,
and they had the likes of JJ Okocha in their team, who's an absolute baller.
yeah.
And you think about it now, is there anyone in that Leicester side or Wolves side who is of that quality? If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I think like you could argue that. I think Ruben Neves and is it
Very good footballer.
Diego Jota? I
Yeah.
think as well is Wolves a striker. They're
And
unbelievable,
Traore
right?
is my hero.
Traore, absolute beast. Leicester, like you could argue that if they had managed to keep hold of N'Golo Conte and Riyad Mahrez, that they'd be a proper side to contend with. But even
Yes,
but
you'd
even
be
even
scared.
yeah, but even now that they've got players like James Maddison, Jamie Vardy's still knocking about, Yuri Tielemans,
Yeah.
you know, Kasper Schmeichel was still a very underrated goalkeeper. I think he's pretty good. So like I think this Leicester team is actually better than the title winning team actually, which actually goes to show you how bad
Yeah,
the
that's
rest
that,
of the
that
team performed. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. There was like before, there was no way that like a mid-table team could
mm,
beat the Invincibles, that Man United team, that
yeah,
Chelsea team, that Liverpool team to win the title. There was no chance. If
yeah,
you think a team like Liverpool had Owen, Carragher,
mm,
Gerrard, some Xavi Alonso. I don't know if Xavi Alonso was there then, but he had
yeah,
some big names in that team and they couldn't even get near. They only won Europa League, so they couldn't get near
yeah,
a title back then. So
mm,
to let alone like a mid-table side to get near it
yeah,
would be absurd. I'm not trying to take away from that achievement.
yeah,
They just proved that they had very good signings, but they proved that football
yeah,
can be played with the mind and not with your feet.
yeah.
Confidence is key.
I also think as well that you have to put down the fact that everyone else, apart from Spurs, that season Leicester won the Premier League. Every single team underperformed. Liverpool were like finishing fifth or sixth, I think, that season.
Yeah,
United were,
everyone was poor.
yeah, United was outside that Champions League spot. Arsenal,
And that was my biggest regret because we came
mm,
second that year
yeah,
and we beat Leicester twice.
twice. We were the only team in the league to do that. Do the double over
S-
Leicester.
So we could have been good enough to do that, but
Mm.
I think we won the FA Cup that year and it kind of
No, we
distracted us
didn't.
from.
We won the
We
FA
didn't
Cup.
win it that.
We won it the year before and the year after.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. So So I often sit here and think Chelsea, who won the title of the season before with Jose Mourinho, were finishing 10th that season. City wasn't managed by Pep Guardiola. That was the season
No.
beforehand. Liverpool was poor. Spurs was good, but we could have easily beaten them. That's probably the last season where you could argue that we were better than they were.
Yes.
And I'm forgetting one other team. United had Louis van Gaal, who were pretty poor. So you should really be looking at that season, and you could even argue the season after when Chelsea won it, that Arsenal probably were on paper the best team in the league.
And we could have pulled it off, but
I think there were also a few dodgy transfers like that kind of stopped
yes,
us from getting over the line. For example, Petr Cech was a good signing, but
I think we needed a good head in the team, but I think
yeah,
our defense threw in the send off for better checks.
yeah, but like I think as well, Cech, people forget that Cech kept the most clean sheets that first season at
Yeah,
Arsenal.
and
So
that's
like
where he broke the
yeah,
record.
so he was the best keeper in the league for that season. Probably in terms of quality, maybe not on par with David De Gea, but the stats don't lie. And the stats said that he was better than De Gea that season.
Yes,
Um, you know, Giroud was a bit, he was a bit iffy, but he was okay. He wasn't terrible. Sanchez was okay. He was a monster the season after.
yeah,
Ozil, was it something like 12, 13, 14 assists that season, which is a ridiculous number.
nearly broke the record.
Nearly broke the record. Giroud let him down. So
Let me just remind you that Henry has the record with 20 goals and 20 assists in a football season, which for a
yeah,
striker is absolutely outrageous.
yeah. So like, if you think about it, the between 2015 and 2017, Arsenal should have won at least Premier League, one Premier League title. I think
Yeah,
so
we could
anyway.
have,
Mm.
especially
That's,
the Leicester year. I reckon
yeah,
if
yeah. But even like the year after, like admittedly Granit Xhaka maybe wasn't the best signing, and we signed him for I think £2 million more than N'Golo Conte was worth. Great. We signed
I
Rob
wonder who
Holding.
got the better deal.
Yeah, we signed Rob Holding that season. Rob Holding turned into a relatively decent player. He's still got, I think he's 24 now, but I still think he's got a lot to prove. You know.
He's a good defender. He's just brainless when he passes the ball.
Mm.
He loses the ball.
Yeah,
That's what I hate it, but that's what's the only good thing about Louise.
yeah.
Like my dad said the other day, do you reckon if Louise could defend, he'd be in the City side? And I said, yeah, most definitely. He would suit that team so well if he could just defend like a normal human being.
David Luiz is probably the most technically gifted defender in the league, but he just is too mistake
Can't
prone.
defend.
Yeah, like he was unbelievable for Antonio Conte at Chelsea, and like
Yeah.
it is just unbelievable that he can't do that anymore. And that I feel like Arsenal just get a load of sloppy seconds all the time. Like we're very close.
Another thing is that we don't have John Terry or
Mm,
Prime Cahill, so
yeah,
that's a bit
yeah,
different as well. We haven't got that caliber of defenders.
yeah. But like if you think about it, between like 2016 and 2017, you know, Sanchez was the best player in the league. Ozil was more than capable of supplying 20 plus assists a season. Czech was in relatively decent form. People forget that Koscielny and Squadron Mustafi were unbeaten for like most of the first half of that season.
Yeah, and I thought if we had
Yeah,
a Bamiyang then we
yeah,
could have won that league. We
yeah.
we would have won the league, but
Or like if we
we
if we had showed
we
him
had Danny
10.
Welbeck, so
Yeah, or if we showed him 10 and signed N'Golo Conte instead of Granit Xhaka, again, we had
Shaka.
the financial means to pull it off. Um, yeah, I seriously sit here and think that Arsenal really missed an opportunity towards the end of Wenger's tenure to really go for the
I
league.
wanted him
But
to leave after he won the FA Cup, in my
oh
opinion. I
yeah,
thought,
everyone did. Everyone did.
and then he went on for one more season. I was just kind of, why did you do that? Like, do
Yeah,
you remember having like a bad season afterwards?
yeah.
He
I
just
think
went when we won it.
Yeah, I think if he'd have gone, you know what? I've won you an FA Cup. I didn't do so very well in the league this season. My contract expired. People forget that as well. His contract had expired, but he got an extension. You know,
Yeah,
so you know, I'm gonna just hold my hands up and say I'm gonna walk away from Arsenal now, and you'll be sorry when I leave. But people say, "Oh, I miss Wenger." Wenger was awful in his final season. We finished sixth. And like we had
But
terrible
as long as
defeats.
we won a trophy, that's
Yeah,
he
and
had,
like,
he had a legacy to leave because
mm,
he's the most successful manager in the FA Cup. He's won the
yeah,
most, and that one we beat Man United's record. We had the most FA Cups.
yeah,
I think 'cause we were level. So
yeah,
him winning that was a nice little send off. He broke a record. There's a trophy in your last season. I didn't think that was needed for a contract
yeah.
extension.
There was no need for a contract extension. There's no need to go on for another, because we forget it was a 2-year contract extension. He could have gone on
Yeah,
for until last season, I think. Um, but yeah, I think that's what we think about the the Arsenal of 2016
today.
17. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I have a couple more questions that I'd really like your opinion on, about the current Arsenal squad. So there's a lot of talk in the media at the moment that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is wanting to leave. Do
I
you
was
think?
just thinking about this.
Do you think he'll stay?
My opinion is the same as Henri's. If I was a footballer, I would go because you have to be
Mm,
selfish as a footballer.
yeah,
Because he's 31 today. Happy
yeah.
birthday,
Happy
Bamiyang.
birthday, mate.
Um, you've only got like 3 or 4 more years at at your prime. And if I
Yeah,
was offered Real Madrid or someone, I don't. He's definitely not going to Chelsea. I want to say because they got Werner. I
yeah,
think that'd be a bit silly to do that. He
yeah.
wouldn't go to another
Liverpool wouldn't
club in
take him.
England. I think.
Yeah, no, I don't think
I
there's
think
any need for it really.
he loves Arsenal too much
Mm,
by the team by by what by what he
yeah,
posts on his socials and stuff like
yeah,
that. Wearing
and
an
also
Ian Wright shirt.
you could argue as well, like there is no other top six side that really needs a striker of his
Yeah,
quality.
he
I
is definitely the. He's definitely. I'm gonna piss people off. He's definitely the best in the league at the moment because to get 17 goals and to get um the Golden Boot last year with next to Mane and Salah
mm,
to be finishing sixth every season and doing that is
yeah,
ridiculous.
I
That
think
is
I think
wild.
as well, like just to touch on the fact that he has turned 31 today. Two things from his point of view, he could argue he could maybe just squeeze one more money move to, like, I don't know, La Liga,
Yes,
or maybe not PSG. But I think the only step now would be for him to go to either Italy, to like a top 3 or 4 side,
Italian side. Yeah,
yeah, or to go to La Liga and
he was
compete for a
linked for
place.
Madrid for a while, so
Yeah,
he could.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think he'd go to I don't think he'd go to Barcelona, because Barcelona can't afford him. Atletico
yeah,
Madrid,
they're
they've got João Felix, Diego Costa, I think is still playing, Alvaro Morata. It really would be somewhere like Madrid. If they can't pull off the Mbappe deal, why would you not go?
yeah, yeah, exactly. As it like I said, like if I was like what Henri said, he said, "What can I say if I left?"
Yeah,
He went for the selfish move. Move. He went to play for Barcelona, and he's like,
yeah,
you know what, I can. Barcelona's Barcelona, and it makes as much as
yeah,
Arsenal is a big club, and I love them to death, but
yeah,
Barcelona is just
yeah.
it's the top
You
of the
could
tree, isn't it?
you could also
If you,
argue from Arsenal's point of view, if you got a 31-year-old striker and you can
yeah,
sell him in today's
for
market
like
for 50 million
50,
plus,
60 million,
yeah,
take it.
yeah, and also you've got to remember as well, because he's 31 and Aubameyang is notorious for his reliance on his pace. Obviously, he's a quality striker, but he relies a lot on his pace. That pace will go in the next season or two. So why not
Yeah,
capitalize on that now?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I
So,
think,
like I was saying, I'd love him to stay as an Arsenal
yeah,
fan. As not like he just gives you that joy when he scores, like no
mm,
other player in that team.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, if I was a footballer, I would move as much as
yeah.
I love Arsenal.
But I also think as well, like, as much as it makes sense for a move to happen, I can't think of many places that would take Aubameyang. You know, in terms of where would you go? You know,
And if Aubameyang goes, Lacazette goes.
I don't think so. I think Lacazette obviously isn't at the same level as Aubameyang is. Lacazette is
No,
really good, but he's not at the same level as Aubameyang is. And I think as well it might make financial sense to keep Lacazette, considering that Lacazette is like 2-3 years younger than Aubameyang. And
yeah, but I just think
yeah,
'cause they're mates, he'll go to Atletico, and then I
but
don't think.
but the problem is that who would go to Atletico? You've got João Felix and Morata to compete with. So like would you?
Lacazette's better than Morata. Just
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
there. Let me
But
just stop you there, sir.
yeah, could you imagine if there was a swap deal for Morata and Lacazette?
Oh
We
no.
we ended up with Alvaro and Morata.
I'm
Ugh.
I'm I'm very happy with like the Mkhitaryan one. Apparently Mkhitaryan's going to stay
Roma.
at Rome, and then we get
Yeah.
Kluivert. So he's a
Um.
young talent. I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
that. We don't have a left winger.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Then yeah. Um. And also, I think that they're willing to play. I think pay maybe an extra. Is that? I think they're willing to pay a couple million euros on top of it as well, from what I've
Yeah,
heard.
20 or something like
20
20,
mil.
30,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah, I think take it because Mkhitaryan is shit, and I think if
that.
you look
He's
at
wank.
yeah, and if you look at what was it? There was a thing where Mkhitaryan signed for Rome on loan, and then everyone was gassed, and then all the Arsenal fans were like, "Why are you so excited? He's like Javinho," but then they're like Javinho looks like Neymar here, mate. Come on. So I think yeah, I think Mkhitaryan will leave. David Luiz will probably go. At least
We got
Saliba's
Saliba coming in,
Saliba's
so
coming in, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
young talent
Clivert
centre back.
coming in, that'd be sick. And I think if we can spend 72 million pounds on Nicola Pepe, we can easily spend 50 million pounds on a world class centre back. You
Yeah,
know, I think that's the way forward for Arsenal. Um, speaking of which, speaking of going forward, do you think Arsenal will make Champions League this season?
no way.
Yeah, I think I wrote these
I'm
questions
focused on
down.
next season,
I wrote these
and I
questions
don't
down
want. I
before.
don't really. Everyone goes mad about it. A lot of teams don't win the league when they get Champions League in a way
Mm,
because unless you're a really, really good team, like when Chelsea won the league a few years
yeah,
back, they didn't have any Champions League football, so all the
mm,
top teams got shattered, and then
yeah,
they wiped out the league when they had Mourinho because they finished
yeah,
10th one season. Then Conte came in, and then they won in the
yeah,
Champions League, and they had less football, and they
yeah,
smashed it.
yeah. I think not that I'm saying that Arsenal have the ability to go on and do a Chelsea next season. Absolutely no way. But I think maybe a season completely out of football. Not just Champions League, but Europa League football. Because what's the point?
Yeah,
Maybe a whole season out of that where we don't have to play an extra like couple games on a Thursday night. Maybe will be good for us. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what happened with Chelsea,
Mm,
and then they've been reinstated ever like reinstated like
yeah.
they've had a kick up the arse, and then they've
Yeah.
been much better since.
Yeah. So another question. And I have actually never not I don't think I've actually had a proper conversation with an Arsenal fan yet about Arteta's appointment. So what do you think about it? Do you think he was the
He's
right
been,
man?
I've initially I didn't, but I have full faith in him because he's lost one game.
Mm. I think
That was his first loss.
yeah. It is quite hard to think though. Like, is he the right move forward?
He's had less than half a season,
Yeah,
so I'd like to see. I can only judge a manager after a full season.
yeah,
Initially, I thought Emery did a good job getting us to Europa League, and then
yeah.
second, well, like his first season, he did well. He got us fifth or something. Emery.
Got us fifth, and
Then the
then
next,
yeah, he did one better than Wenger in every single competition. So he went further in Europe. He went further in the league, not by much, but still better.
yeah, and then he kind of just next season he got us to the
Yeah,
final, and
that was it.
then then this season he was absolutely useless. So
Yeah. So I think the I'll be honest with you, the appointment of Unai Emery was poor. I think so.
yeah,
At the time, I was underwhelmed because when you you know who
were
was
considered Ancelotti and all them sort
Ancelotti,
of.
Allegri. I really wanted Allegri at one point. You know, you could even argue Zidane. Like he wouldn't have gone to Arsenal, but like, could you imagine the scenes if he did? He was available.
Yeah,
You know, so like I just really sit there and think, oh, for fuck's sake, we could have gone out and done something. And then again, when
yeah.
Unai Emery was sacked, you know, Mourinho hadn't signed for Tottenham yet. Or maybe he had. No, he hadn't. No. Oh no, no.
Yes.
He
The
had
thing is,
signed.
I
He had
I
signed for.
wouldn't be that annoyed for him to be Arsenal's
Yeah,
manager because he would sort out the fucking defence. Sorry if there's any
yeah.
PG listeners,
Oh
but
no, don't worry
that,
about it, man.
that do you know what I mean? He would have sorted
Yeah,
the root of the problem first instead of trying to. Because offensively, we're up there with scoring with the top
yeah.
teams.
Oh yeah, like we are such a front heavy side. You know, we rely so much on our attack, but our philosophy often isn't we're going to outscore you. It's not really that sort of identity that we have. You know,
No, we're
so
not
like
Brazil.
yeah, so like having a shit defense is always going to be bad. You know, and we don't necessarily have the quality to kind of create 4 or 5 goals. You know, every single match,
Yeah, I know what you
which is
mean.
bad. Yeah. So like I think in conclusion, I think like Arteta might be the right manager because people say that he is really good, and people say that he has the potential to be a really
And
good
there was a lot
manager.
of uncertainty when what's his name
Mm,
left, and he settled the whole. They seem much more of a team.
yeah, I think Unai Emery. I really hate listening or like reading interviews that Unai Emery has done since leaving Arsenal, and people just and he's just absolutely slewing everyone and say, "Oh, it wasn't really my fault," but like you're the manager, take some responsibility for your players.
Yeah, I know what
So
you mean.
yeah, so like you know, I think Arteta is a better manager than Unai Emery, and I think he has
I
definitely
think
has the
he's a
potential to be.
better. His philosophy is better,
Yeah.
but I think he's a better people's person.
Yes, I was gonna say man management is much better from Arteta.
I think that is so important
Mm,
these days,
yeah,
especially with mental health being such a big thing in football.
yeah,
I think it's very important to
yeah,
for like your manager
yeah,
to. Some players like an arm around the shoulder, and then some like a
yeah,
kick up the arse.
yeah,
Um, so you need a manager who can do both.
yeah. But from I've heard from like you know from what's coming out of Arsenal at the moment is that he's managed to kind of persuade Xhaka to stay. I mean, would you fucking believe
Yeah,
that? He's kind of managed to kind of keep the because what was that thing about 5 captains? You know, earlier on in the season,
yeah.
that was ridiculous. Like
You
now
have one. You have
we have
one main captain, and
yeah.
you got a vice captain.
Yeah, we've got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and then we've got Hector Bellerin as our vice captain, which makes sense. Um,
Hmm.
and you know, David Luiz apparently, you know, as much as we don't want him to stay, I don't think anyone wants him to stay apart from Arteta and himself. Um, but
Hmm.
like he's been much better in terms of man management, I think. So I think Arteta going forward might take a couple of years, but if you finance him correctly and you give him time, I think maybe he will be the right person to do the job.
Yeah, very true. And I like the
Yeah,
fact that Mertesacker the
yeah,
coach for the young
yeah,
defenders because someone who's won a
and
World Cup
yeah,
and seen
yeah,
it all.
yeah. I
So
also think as well it was a mistake to let Czech go back to Chelsea.
he just took the job, didn't he? He retired and then he
Yeah,
took the job.
but like if you're sat there from Arsenal's point of view and you know he's you know employed by you and then the week after he goes to sign for your rivals, then like that's a bit bad. Like
Yes,
I would have definitely offered him a contract beforehand because I think whether you like it or not, Czech is on paper the best Premier League goalkeeper. You know,
considered one. Yes,
considered one, yeah. And like if you have that ability to say, "Hey man, would love it if you stayed on," you know, how much, how
just
much,
as a
yeah,
just
yeah,
even as a life coach, really.
yeah, or like just be like, if I don't care how much Chelsea are offering, we'll offer you more, whatever. I think you know, Bernd Leno probably is our best player this season. Probably learned a lot from Petr Cech, you know.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would have kept him on. I would have. I think Wenger maybe did a smart move. You know the Wenger does it again meme where he's
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, send Arteta to spy on Pep Guardiola for 3 seasons, then bring him back to manage Arsenal. Wenger, you done it again. That was a good move.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I think Arteta's the right man moving forward. I think last question on
Well, his
Arsenal.
philosophy, the thing is, philosophy is probably very similar to the Pep, but how can you
Mm,
out Pep someone like
yeah,
his
you
philosophy? His
like.
his way of
Mm,
so you got to define your own way.
yeah,
I don't know how he's gonna adapt his because he was obviously you can tell how they played. They tried to stifle each other out in the first half. It was a
mm,
very similar approach.
yeah.
You can't you. It's very hard to beat your teacher
Yeah, like
if you
you know,
understand.
the student hasn't become the master. You know, Arteta's only been in
Not
management
that
for
maybe.
yeah, Arteta's only been manager for less than 6 months. Like, as in not
Yeah,
just our manager, a manager for 6 months. Like, and you'd be very surprised to see him, beat Pep. So I wasn't surprised by the result tonight. So last night, I was just more surprised about how it kind of came about. You know,
yeah.
um,
We had a okay half, but until
yeah, David Luiz came on.
the
Yeah.
certain man came on.
A certain
Shall not
thing,
mention his
yeah,
name.
yeah, a certain Brazilian came on. Last question on Arsenal, before we move on to other things.
Yeah,
So we've spoken a lot about Arsenal of old, Arsenal of current, Arsenal of new. Um, in your opinion, because I think to say will we ever be great again is like an unlimited time frame. But I think actually, you know what? I am going to say ever because, like, you look back at great clubs, that have
yes.
that have that have
AC
had
Milan, for
yeah.
example.
There's a lot of clubs. I mean, like even like Nottingham Forest and Blackburn Rovers. There's clubs that have had their time. So I think the question that I want to
Yes,
ask you is has Arsenal had their time?
I don't think so, but when you think about it like this, when my dad grew up, he was a Chelsea fan, and then they hadn't won a trophy like a league cup for
Yeah,
50 years until they won it in 2005. So my dad had to wait his lifetime nearly to uh to see Chelsea
yeah,
lift a trophy. So for
mm,
us to see like from 2005 onwards to see
yeah,
us win like 4 trophies, I know that sounds minimal.
yeah, yeah,
It is lucky. If we support West Ham, they hadn't won a trophy since 1980.
yeah,
We can consider ourselves quite lucky.
mm.
But
I,
as a dominant force,
yeah,
maybe not.
yeah,
I don't. We might win a league, but I don't think we'll ever be like 2003-4 good again. We
yeah.
might win a league by 2 or 3 points,
Mm.
but I don't think we'll win it that comfortably ever again. I don't think we'll be world
Yeah,
beaters.
yeah. I don't think. I think the best Arsenal team to ever live is gone. We will never have that
Yes,
again in our lifetimes. And I think,
that's the problem.
yeah,
Everyone wants that back.
yeah,
That is so hard.
yeah,
The caliber of player we had,
yeah.
we basically
I
had the French World Cup side.
yeah. I do also think as well that if you think about it, you know, it's a very pivotal point in Arsenal's history because it is it's literally so imminent after the Wenger era. What, a year and a half? You
Yes.
know, so you could really argue that now is the time to kind of make or break our history. Do we
Yeah.
go in the direction and say, right, we're going to completely move on from the Wenger philosophy and try and build ourselves into a title winning side, or do we go and try and or just fail at that and kind of be mediocrity? And I think at the moment,
Yeah.
Arsenal really conflicting
I
messages.
think it. I think it's head down. It's a bit like the government at the
Yeah,
moment. It's all over the shop. I don't think the organizer, for example, let's go into the business side of Arsenal.
mm,
It's share based.
yeah,
There's not one owner. It's all different people, and it's majority share
yeah,
owners. Me and you could buy shares
yeah,
in Arsenal, and if we bought the most, we would own it.
yeah,
It's not like Man United, Chelsea, and others where there's like Abramovich just owns the whole
yeah,
club like a company.
yeah,
We you have people investing in the company, but he owns that football
Yeah.
team.
Do you know what? Do you know
So
what though? Is that
it's people's
yeah,
money. It's not just one person's money. It's other people's money which is being spent on players.
yeah,
And some people are like, I don't want to do that. And some are like, well, I'm the majority shareholder. I want to buy. So it's hot. It's badly
yeah.
organised from the top.
I'll be honest with you. From what I'm thinking back to Liverpool and when they changed manager in 2015 to Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp wasn't a success straight away, but I think that you could tell that there was a plan in place, and that
Yes, they let him build his
and that
philosophy
we're seeing that come into prominence now with a Champions League trophy. You know,
and a Premier League imminent.
about a week's time, Liverpool will lift the Premier League. So
Well, people forget he lost the Europa League final and the
mm,
Champions League final.
yeah, but like there's nothing at Arsenal that's really telling me that there's a plan in place. You know,
Yeah,
I don't think we have we know what to do if Aubameyang leaves.
that's what I'm saying. There's no organisation from the top above. They invested in Arsenal as a company and
mm,
not as a football team, so they don't care
yeah,
where they are in the league. As long as Arsenal's making
yeah.
money,
I don't think I
we need a
yeah.
football fan to take over the
I
club.
don't think I remember the last time I saw not Antonio Conte, Stan Kroenke at an Arsenal match.
Exactly. He doesn't like
Yeah,
football.
it's just an asset for him, really. You know.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that Kroenke is sending out the wrong messages. Even though Josh Kroenke was like, "Be excited, guys." You know, like, do you remember that? Do you remember that? When people were
Yes.
so pissed off at Arsenal, and then Josh Kroenke came out with like, "Be excited, guys." Excited about what? Like we've done nothing apart from draw like 14
Mm.
games this season. It's ridiculous. Um, I think that's covered Arsenal quite well. We've been going for about 40 minutes.
Yeah, we've gone quite far.
Yeah. So I think we'll go for a different topic now, which is well, what? So we met. Fucking hell, we met about 9 years ago now.
That's
That
dodgy,
is
man.
dodgy. That like I remember like
That that is like half my life. Well, I'm
yeah,
19
yeah,
now.
yeah.
That's like half my
Yeah,
life.
but by the time we get to next year, 10 years, it will be half our lives that we've known each other, which is
Yes, it
ridiculous.
fucking
Because
will.
because I remember speaking about this on an early episode of the podcast and just thinking like I don't really have lots of friends that I've known for like a long period of time, but then there's you are like
It's crazy, brother. I don't
yeah, you're
understand.
like the outlier. You're like probably the oldest friend I have at the moment, or like probably actually no, the oldest friend I have ever. You know, like
It says a lot about you, bruv.
yeah, it says a lot about us. So we met each other 9 years ago at St Michael's Catholic High School in Watford, and that was
Ends.
ends, bruv. That was a fun time. That was a very fun time.
For some.
Yeah, some more than others. So we were in the same form, and we were together. Fuck, we weren't together. That sounds like we're we're a couple. Jesus.
Nah, I'm not into that shit.
Surprise.
No, we've known each other from day dot at
Yeah, from day dot.
secondary school.
Yeah,
Not to go in too much detail.
yeah. But like, I've been looking forward to this podcast because like I've spoken to a lot of people from like sixth form, which is all like quite recent memory. And like I've spoken a lot about stuff that happened there, but I've not spoken to anyone from St. Michael's properly. So I'm trying to think back as to
Okay.
like what went down at St. Michael's that's like really funny that we could talk about, you know?
It's a distant memory, really, because
Yeah,
obviously I moved school,
yeah,
and then I went to sixth form, and then that's all in my head more
yeah,
than St Michael's, if you understand what I mean.
yeah. I do often look back at like some of the stuff we did at St. Michael's like as like really fun. So like I think you came around my house once. We made like a fucking geography video once. That was fun.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that.
cringe, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm so annoyed that I don't have the footage of that anymore because like I think it would be fucking hilarious.
I'm not.
Yeah. Oh no, man, I want that footage, man. I think I still have the SD card, but it might be corrupt. But I
Good.
will try my best to try and get it off.
Oh, no, I'm gonna be chubby and fat and cringe. I don't want to see it.
You've glowed up, man. You've glowed up, man, since like
Thank you.
since
No homo.
no homo, but you're buff, man. But like,
Oh yeah.
but like you have like bulked up and slimmed down since like secondary school, which is mad.
Thank you.
Oh no! Please don't tell me that we've got to this point in the podcast and we can't remember anything. There must be something that we.
No, you've just grown a beard and that's about it.
No, I mean, like
You don't wear glasses.
oh god! Like I do often. Do you know what's really funny is that at the time I was like, I have no idea why I get bullied, and then I look back on it now and I'm like, oh, that was why. It's like, do you remember that video I sent you a couple of months ago of us in that geography lesson?
Oh,
That
don't
was
start.
the funniest thing I've ever seen. I don't know. I presume very little people are listening that were from our form group. But if you are, there is a video online somewhere of a geography lesson that we
No,
did.
I don't want people to see.
I mean, I don't care. I don't speak to anyone anymore. Go for it.
Weather. I said weather, like I wanted to be cool. I was just like, what are you
She
doing?
said like, what word links climate and weather? I think it was the question that Miss Briggs asked. I was like,
and then you said
climate. Is it climate, Miss? Like, no. The word linking climate and weather is not climate. Like, idiot. But that lesson.
I sounded so like chavvy though when she asked me the question. I'm like, yeah, weather.
Yeah, I do think it's so weird now that people have like changed. I mean, obviously, that's how life works. But people have changed so much. Like, seeing like.
I think it's just one of those things that happens at school.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you look, obviously us now, we looking back at it and we see like some people got picked on, some more than others.
I wonder
names.
I wonder who you're referring to when you say someone.
Yeah, but like they'll probably look back now and like, oh shit, I didn't mean it, or like, because obviously people aren't aware of how much.
Yeah.
They're just being young people. Like, think about when you're 12.
Yeah.
When considering we're adults nearly now, you look at a 12-year-old. It's kind of like he doesn't really know what's going on and thinking about. He's just, he's getting picked on. It's funny to go and join in.
Yeah.
Well, it shouldn't be the case, but that's just how young people think.
Yeah.
And I reckon everyone's got a bit older. They'll be a bit more mature if you know what I mean.
Because I've obviously had
be a bit nicer.
I've obviously had like a very long time to think about secondary school since I've left, and like it now is like distant past. And like I think even though like it was quite hard to come to terms with straight afterwards, like a year afterwards was the first year after was really hard to kind of come to terms with how I felt. But like I think now I can't really blame anyone for how they treated me because like again we were kids, you know. I'm a completely different person to the person I was at 12 years old.
People shouldn't expose like you, and that was out of order. But I understand what you mean. It's like a 12-year-old wouldn't comprehend like being so like unless they're extremely mature for their age. I think that was another thing. Our year was very grown up. And we were both like very young. And we're kind of like we were just a bit behind really.
I've often thought that like, I could have done with maybe. You know, because you were born on like the 31st of August, weren't you? Or 30th. I always forget your birthday.
30th.
Yeah. Same day as my old dog who died.
I killed it.
No, you didn't. No, I won't go into it because it is really sad. But she died because she couldn't go to the toilet anymore. So like she died pissing herself. So it is quite sad.
I was gonna say constipation.
Yeah,
but
like
I got the wrong end.
Yeah. So she died. Anyway, back to school. But like
my dog died. But anyway,
like I've often thought like I was born on the 24th of August, which is like a week after the deadline. So a week before the deadline of going into the next year. And I've often thought if I could have maybe started the year below, I would have done so much better. I think the rule is now is that if you're born in the last term of the year, you can pick what year and if I was in that situation, I would want to pick the lower year because I think it is just so much beneficial, so much more beneficial. I know that there has to be a limit somewhere, But like,
Yeah, you can't be born on the
yeah,
1st of January and be like, you know what?
yeah, you can't be like 20 years old and think, actually, I could really go back to year 5. I think I'd enjoy that.
But the thing what's so stupid about it is like once you get to uni, sixth form, you start hanging around. You might be 16, and
Yeah.
you might have a mate who's 19, or you
Mm.
might. Do you understand what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when I went to sixth form, I was like, oh, I went when I was 16, but I made friends the year above,
Mm.
and because it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
when beyond school,
Mm.
and it shouldn't be a problem if you go down a year, but you're always going to get picked
Yeah.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not a big deal, is
Yeah.
it?
And like, I think like when you go to work as well, and you know they don't care if you're 18. Like you're working with a bunch of like 30-year-olds, and you know it's fine. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. So like, but like in school, age is such a big thing, and like kind of being like there is a massive difference between like 13 and 14. You know,
Yes,
yeah,
huge.
in terms of like the maturity and stuff like that. But yeah, so school was a mad one. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think also like going back to it,
It's a learning
yeah,
curve, I think.
and going back to it, I don't really hold a grudge to anyone that kind of maybe you know treat yeah
It's not your like what you said, it's not it's like I can't remember exactly what you said. You were saying that you can't blame him. Well, you can
yeah
blame him because but you can understand
yeah
why that people just hopped onto
oh
the
yeah. Like
oh, I'll pick on
if
him because everyone
I mean
else is.
I turned up to school and I had the most crooked teeth. I had a broken nose with glasses and mad curly ginger hair, and obviously I stuck out that like a sore thumb.
Look like a cartoon character,
Yeah, so
literally.
like I for my appearance I get it, and then like I think I overcompensated with my you know with how outlandish I was at school and like, hey guys, look at me, be my friend. Like no one's gonna fucking like that. Everyone's gonna pick on you, and I get it. But like the same way that like I don't blame anyone at school for what happened. I don't blame myself for what happened anymore. Yeah,
Yes.
because I used to completely blame what happened on myself, and that.
It's not your fault that
Yeah,
people were being
yeah.
assholes.
It took me a long time to like really kind of like crack that and be like, it wasn't my fault for what
Some
happened.
people you'll go back if there was ever a reunion, you'd go back and they're like, "Oh, I'm really, really sorry,"
Yeah,
or and then the others would just continue like, "Oh my God, you're that kid," and
you're
they
that
just
kid
bring up
we
all like the
bullied. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like I don't know if I'd ever go back to a reunion though, because I think it would just be so awkward for people. Because I've
Nah, if you had a Lambo or
oh
something,
yeah, if
I would
I mean
definitely
like
like.
if I had a rollie on and like a fucking Ferrari, like I would turn up. But like it also
Just like in a gold and white
yeah,
suit.
I mean Luca, you do know me well enough to know that I prefer Ferrari over Lamborghini.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're not as outlandish as me.
Would you actually well okay, I'll tell you what, we'll get on to cars afterwards, but like just to wrap up
Yeah,
the
all
school
right.
thing. Um yeah, like I wouldn't want to turn up to a reunion, I don't think, because I think it would just be full of people just be like, oh shit, Craig, you know, sorry for that time that we all made fun of you for like 5 years, and some people would still make fun of me. So it's just like I can't win, so I just wouldn't turn up probably. So
Yeah, like some people be really nice, and then some people would be just like bring it up
some
again.
people just wouldn't change. Some people would be really awkward about it, but like I've gotten to a point now I just don't really care about it anymore. Yeah,
Yeah,
because like I remember used to like even for the last couple of years walking past St Michael's is a hard thing for me to do, you know. But
yeah.
like now going past it, it's fine. Like it's just a
But like a very true wise old man once said, revenge doesn't taste sweet. A
yeah.
true man realizes it.
Yeah,
So holding a grudge is when you hold a grudge on someone, you're only making it more prevalent in your brain.
yeah,
If you let it go, it's no longer
yeah,
obviously you shouldn't forget what you've been
yeah,
through, but if you hold on to you make it more aware all the time,
yeah. I've definitely.
and that brings you more stress.
I think I've also kind of like, you know, I am a better man for it. I know that sounds a bit dead, but like, you know, I am a better person.
I'm a better man
Ooh,
for
I'm a
it.
better man. But like, I'm a better person. I'm a better all round person for it because like now I not only am I now kind of more toned down and more like um
Just tougher in
yeah,
general.
calm, but also like I'm now back to the stage of like I don't care what everyone thinks about me, and like I can talk to strangers about being in fear that they might not like me, or they'll laugh at me for being ginger or whatever.
Yeah, not everyone's gonna like
Yeah,
you. I
yeah,
don't like that. And fuck it if they don't like you, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
So what?
yeah,
It shouldn't be a thing. Like, you shouldn't be worrying about if someone doesn't. But when you're at school, it's like
yeah,
being a celebrity, innit? You
yeah.
want to be the one that
Oh
everyone's
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
But like I think also now that I've moved on, and like also that I think as well, school was like obviously the main thing that I had in my life. But now, like, I work,
There's so much
yeah, I
more.
act, I go to the gym, I box, like I have so many different social lives now, you know.
Doing one push-up doesn't mean you go to the gym, Craig.
No, 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 I lift, man. I say I lift, I bench press. How much can you bench press? I'm curious.
No, you go first.
Okay, well, like I've because so I went to the gym with my friend Matt, who went to uni. He went to University of Lincoln last year. So I had,
Okay, that doesn't
yeah, but
mean how
no,
much you
but I
bench.
haven't been able to spot myself. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so I haven't done it in a year. But my one rep max is, I think, 55
Oh,
pounds. No, I'm
my
joking, I'm
best
joking,
one was like,
KG, I'm joking, KG.
yeah, I was gonna say LB. You're just
Yeah, that's nothing.
balloons. My best is like 72.5,
Oh, nice.
but I anything above your body weight is good, but I prefer to do cable work for
Mm.
my chest.
I prefer to do cardio and boxing drills is kind of my thing. Because, like,
Yeah, boxing
yeah,
workouts makes your whole body
mm,
strong.
that's yeah,
Weightlifters, the weight that's the different. Weightlifters do like certain body
yeah,
parts, but when you're boxing, you're using the
mm,
whole of your body.
that's like,
So when you're doing
yeah,
pull-ups and stuff like that,
mm,
that sort of workout, your whole body has to work.
mm. That's the one thing that I've really learned from boxing as well, is like how reliant you are on like your entire body. Because, like,
Yes.
with football, if you have, like, Harry Kane walked around with like a mask on his face for like 3 months because he had a face injury, you know. But
Yeah.
like, if I had surgery this year to correct my nose, but like I couldn't box for a month, you know.
Yeah.
Last year I injured my knee sparring, and I couldn't box for like 2 months. You know,
Yeah.
I've never fully realized until like quite recently how reliant your entire body is on boxing. You know, you have to be
Yeah.
in top form in every single part of your body in order to be able to box, or you just
Yeah.
can't do it. It's ridiculous otherwise.
It's not possible.
Mm. But like, I really enjoy boxing, which is why I do it, and like I prefer that than going to the gym. So
And I've always thought, going on to a darker subject, but I think there should be more boxing places and gyms all over the place,
mm,
just because of like what's happening on the streets at the moment with the amount of stabbings, and that's calmed down a bit because of the
yeah,
virus, but about all of the bad things,
mm,
like government cuts pay for police officers,
mm,
um and then no, like got rid of loads, and then they've got rid of a load of youth centres, and
mm,
then they blame the youth. Then the government's also, oh, it's the youth's fault. Well, if you're taking away our places to distract ourselves from that, how
yeah,
can how can you how can you say anything on it,
yeah.
if you know what I mean?
Have you seen the film Fight Club?
Yes,
Yes, and that there's an idea of toxic masculinity, and like every man just wants to beat each other up, right?
yes,
And I think there is a level of truth to that. I think there's a level of truth to. I can only speak for, I think, guys in general. I don't know if I can. Probably,
yeah.
I'm not going to say.
You
Yeah,
can speak for
yeah.
women.
I'm not going to though. But I think as a man, I'm speaking to a lot of my mates. Like, there is like a level of built up aggression that people need to get out. You know, and I think that might be
Yeah,
just a natural thing. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
So if you went to the gym or
yeah.
boxing or something like that,
Mm,
or a game of
mm,
football or more football or anything, just to get that, like,
yeah.
within the fair play. You can do hard tackles, like football,
Yeah,
rugby. They're all physical sports. You can get your surge of
yeah,
masculinity out of it without having
yeah,
to.
resort to
to
other
go
means.
into a
Yeah,
negative light.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, oh, this is gonna sound really weird, but like to to have some physical stimulation. You know what I mean? That sounds.
Physical stimulation.
So that's kind of school talked about, and that's Arsenal covered. We were going to talk about like cars now as well because you mentioned
Yeah,
Lamborghinis. Yeah. So me and Luca have a long-standing friendship over Arsenal Football Club and how painful it is being an Arsenal fan, and also I love our.
women.
Oh God, no, you can't bring. And and cars is what I think you're meaning to say, Luca. So
Well, what's better than sport, women, and cars? Let's be honest.
yeah, that's pretty much what our friendship is based off of, really. But
And Star Wars to make it nerdy.
oh yeah, we talk about Star Wars. Oh mate,
Gotta love a bit of
gotta
Star
love a bit
Wars.
of Star Wars. But yeah, talking about like cars. God, like I'm trying to think where to start. Like, so we'll talk about Ferrari to start with because we're both Italian as well. So like
Yes, I'm a bit more Italian.
you
Let me
are,
just
I
say.
think you are a bit more percentage wise. I have since learnt that my granddad is actually more from France.
Oh no.
He did well. I say that it's
I say, oh no, like it's a bad thing, but it's
no.
not.
But like he's from like the Monaco area. In terms of like thinking about like you know Ferrari and stuff like that. You know, what was the big car that was around the time when we last spoke to each other about this? I think it was around 458 period. It was around LaFerrari period and stuff like that. Yeah, it was around that kind of point. So like, so
Yeah,
like, even I feel like this now. Like Ferrari was better like 5 6 years ago. I don't like Ferrari now. Would you agree with me?
yeah. The thing is, I love
Yeah, so
Ferraris
do
and
I.
I love
Yeah.
Lamborghinis yeah, and all them. I love all cars really, but the thing is, Ferrari, the designs are beautiful,
Mm,
but they sell to a market,
yeah.
whereas Lamborghini designed to be like, you know what, doesn't give a fuck. It's gonna look like a
You're gonna
spaceship.
have 1 million horsepower.
Yeah, it's gonna have wings and flames and.
That is so like, but I feel like with Ferrari, like I feel
It's more classic.
mm,
It's more reserved. It's
I
more
feel
like
like
stylish in a
I
way.
feel also like on an episode of Top Gear now, but like to talk about again, I'm not touching on politics here, but to talk about the European Union, um, now cars have a limit over their entire range of how much carbon emissions that they can
Fuels that,
that they
yeah,
can produce on an average of their range. So like
yeah,
Audi are fine because they've got the A1 which produces very little, but then they can have an R8 that produces lots.
yeah,
But Ferrari now have to because they market to a certain range. I think their their carbon emissions limit is higher because it's a more premium market.
much,
Or like actually no, it works on how many cars you produce. So Ferrari only produce
yeah,
like less than 10,000 cars a year, so they're fine and they're in the upper limit. But even so, they have to limit their emissions. So like there's more things being introduced now, like turbos and electric systems and stuff like that. And like
yeah,
it is. I was especially sad to see the 458 go. You know, and like have the is it the
yeah. But
yeah
that's been around since like 2012,
no
so
older
you
than that
can't.
2009 I think that thing's been going on for
Wow.
yeah. But like if you were to ask me would I want a 488 or an FA, I would still have a 458.
Old Ferraris are better. I
Mm,
don't know what
yeah,
your opinions on it.
I prefer the Ferraris of the 80s. I usually ignore the Ferraris of kind of 90s, early 2000s, apart from two. And then like everything 2009, 2013 is really good. So from like LaFerrari, sorry, from 458 to LaFerrari is kind of like my period of Ferrari. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, but like kind of early 2000s Ferrari, like 360, 430, don't like them. And Enzo,
430's alright, but it's
yeah.
just a bit of a plain
Mm.
Ferrari, isn't it?
So
It's like.
I didn't like Ferrari's
If I had
design.
one, I wouldn't
Oh yeah,
complain.
but like I
But
think
it's just
bit dull.
yes.
Yeah, and also
I'd rather have like a Diablo
yeah
or something Lamborghini,
yeah
just a bit more
or like
off the scale.
I'd rather have a Gallardo than a 430. They're kind of the same periods.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
Gallardo's a safe Lamborghini, but
yeah,
the Gallardo still looks a bit
yeah.
more like, okay,
Actually,
this could set on fire if I crashed it.
actually, if we're being specific, I'm talking about a specific type of Gallardo. I would have the Balboni, which is the real
Yes,
the
because it has the gearbox.
the rear wheel drive manual gearbox. That is a car, man. Like you need balls to drive that
Exactly.
car, and that's what I want in a car. So I'd rather have one of those over a 430. Um, I really like the
It's like it'd be so hard to drive
mm,
because having a manual gearbox
yeah
on a
five yeah.
300
Oh
horsepower
no, it's like
supercar,
500. I think I'm pushing 500,
500
600. Yeah.
horsepower.
Um.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah. Um. And again, like I said, I don't really like the Ferraris of the early 2000s. So I'm not a massive fan of the Enzo. I hate to say it.
Enzo's all right,
Enzo's
but
all right, yeah, but oftentimes I look at it and I don't get that wow factor, you know, especially the interior.
it's more
Yeah,
the engine in that
it's
car.
more of like the technical achievement, but like only because of like you know just being completely stripped out, you know. But if you look at a LaFerrari, it's
Yeah.
so much like nicer inside, but still so much better performing, you know. Um,
Yes.
I think I know I tell a lie. FXXK. No, FXX is the Enzo one, isn't it? Which is like the one
Yeah.
that Schumacher drove around.
You can buy it, but you cannot like keep it.
Yeah,
It's really weird.
yeah, but like I'd have one over an Enzo. They're sick. And when I saw that go around like the Top Gear track in like what 2007, like oh my god, I was just like I want this car. Um,
The one of them I do like from like the 90s, which is a very like understated
mm.
one. It's like the 318 and the 348. You know, they're a bit
Oh yeah, but
smaller.
348 is rubbish, man.
I know, but
Mm.
like they're not the best Ferrari, but they're kind of, I don't know, just a bit smaller.
Yeah,
It's a bit, it's just like, I don't know, it's just something about it. It's a
yeah.
bit like, it'd be more like a Porsche. You could use it more.
Mm. I
Like, we're being in a modern world, if we were talking like
mm.
logistics wise. But if I was going to go crazy, I'd get like a F40 or something like that.
Oh
So
yeah,
just,
F40s are beautiful. Um, is it the 288, which is before the F40?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
my favourite
Oh,
Ferrari.
that's a beautiful car. I saw. I think I might have sent you it a couple months ago, but there was a beautiful one in like black with like a red line along the side. I'd get mine like that if I could get one.
Yes.
Beautiful. I like the F40. I've heard the F50 is a bit hit or miss. Um,
It depends if you like a V12 or not.
yeah. I'd also say, if we're speaking about 90s, early 2000s Ferrari, an understated one, so you like the 348. Um, mine is another one that no one else likes, but I really like it. It's the 612, the
Okay.
Scaglietti. It's like think of like an early 2000s.
In it, there's always one that you
Yeah,
like that
there's
in that
yeah,
world is hated, and that's why I
yeah,
quite like the 348. It's
yeah,
kind of it's a baby Ferrari. It's not really
yeah,
considered a but like it's
mm,
smaller. It's just got that big Momo
mm,
steering wheel. It's fast. It's just a you could use it more
yeah,
if you know what I mean.
yeah, and
Everyone's like, "I was a baby
mm,
version."
the six one.
It's like an ugly
Yeah,
duckling, but you find it cute
yeah,
and you want to take
yeah.
it
Because
home.
the 612, now that I look at it, is a really bad looking car. But like in terms of kind of like the period of my life that was in, which was like when I was like 4 or 5 when that thing came out, I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's what started my love for cars, the 612. Which is why I like it. But like if you think about like, I think it's the GCC 4 Lusso now that they have. It's kind of like a 2000s version of that. You know, Grand Tourer, a V12 at the front. Rear wheel drive. What's not to love, man? That's really what I like.
But like, if you're gonna talk beautiful Ferraris, you're gonna talk about the ones in the '60s, the
Oh
Dinos,
yeah.
the one of them.
I
So
was
yeah,
very lucky to be in Italy in April
I saw a Dino.
of last year. Yeah, and like there was a I think there was a rally coming through, and I think I saw a 250. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. Yeah,
stunning.
I think I saw a 250. I also saw like the 250 Grand Tourer, which is much nicer in my opinion.
Just want to remind people that we can't drive as
Oh
well.
yeah, I.
So the ones that we saying, we don't know how they drive. We're just
Oh
going off
yeah,
by
we're
looks and
going off of like
yeah.
what they says in the spec sheet and like what and like kind of what Jeremy Clarkson says on Top Gear. That's kind of what we're going off of. This is it. This is it. Yes, it is. It's not the 250 GTO, which is the expensive one that's like worth like $50 million. It is the
Yeah,
normal 250 that I saw, and it is such a buff looking car. Like I'd have one of those. Um, I'd also have the LaFerrari, 100%. I think
yeah,
in terms of kind of if I can have like a dream five Ferrari garage, it would be normal 250. It would be the 288 F40 LaFerrari 458. Bangers, bangers, mate. You can't even deny it.
they are nice cars.
So
Very
is that
nice
the one you're
cars.
thinking of, the 456, or is it the 412, which is the one
Um,
before?
and let me look it up. I just
Because
um,
the four
there's one. I don't know.
the 456 is sort of the same time, about 1996.
It's because Michael Jordan has a pair of shoes, like a pair of Jordans based off a Ferrari.
Does he?
Yep.
No way. That's sick.
And then like the badge is like him doing his famous thing, like the slam dunk, but it's
Yeah.
like yellow and black.
Oh, mate. I really wanted Ferrari shoes when I was younger. They were sick. You know what I mean?
And then when you had like the
Yeah,
Puma
the Puma.
ones,
Oh, mate, I wanted a pair of those. They were sick. You know, I think I knew someone that actually like unironically had a pair, but he was like 16, 17. You know, I was like, I respect you, man. You've really gone for it there. You know,
oh, it's a 5112 TR.
5112 TR. Let me have a look at that. Nah, I don't like it.
It's quite
If I
interesting that
was
they
to
did that.
buy a car today with an unlimited amount of money, probably I want to say a LaFerrari, but like it's not that. Like it's like it's all right, but like just too much money and like not practical. I'd buy a Tesla.
Yeah,
I like Teslas a
fast
lot.
and you can use it.
And what I probably would also do as well is buy a second. The key word here is second hand. Second hand, probably an R8. Because I think the key with buying like nice cars is like letting someone else take the depreciation for you.
Yeah,
The moment you buy a car, the car will just depreciate, and then like you've lost all your money. So like, why am I going
yeah,
to take that? I'm
basically.
not going to take that hit. I'm going to let someone else do that. You know, I'm going to let someone else do
You know, I don't want to
50
spend
grand.
250,000 and then it'd be
Mm,
worth 70,000, unless
yeah,
you're buying, like you said, a LaFerrari, which is
yeah.
always going to be worth a
The
couple of £1 million.
I feel like with Ferraris, like any car, they have to be worth over a certain amount of money for it to be guaranteed, you know, success or like
Valuable.
valuable. Yeah, so like over 500,000, you know, has to kind of be the
Some of
point.
my like favorite, you know, we were talking about in the 90s and the 80s, like a lot of cars became like were popular with hot hatches and like
Yeah.
estate cars
Mm.
and were like four door fast cars like the
Mm.
BMWs, and they were like more popular for a while
Yeah.
just because you can like old M3 or M4,
Yeah.
um it's very fast, turbocharged, and you
Mm.
can drive to work in it
RS6 Avant.
like old cos, and then like all the old
Yeah.
Cosworths and all that.
Yeah.
Then you had your Golfs
Mm.
and your Peugeots, and they were like considered really fast
Mm.
cars. I think it's helped because of rallying and touring cars.
Yeah.
But you could use them on a regular basis.
Yeah. I would.
You didn't have to worry that your car was going to get
Mm.
scratched or your car was going
Yeah.
to.
You could even argue that like an RS6, like an estate car, is. I really like the RS6. You know,
Yeah,
fast as fuck. You know, looks beautiful. I really enjoy that. Trying to think.
and practicality wise, you probably still could
Mm,
take your wife to a mother's meeting and
yeah,
kids to school.
yeah. Nuke it out. You know, understated. You know, maybe put like a nice exhaust on the end. You're sorted. You know. I also think as well, maybe like a nice. Hear me out when I say this right. A nice Volvo estate.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah,
never gonna die.
yeah, and also think about like how nice, especially nowadays, how nice those interiors are.
Yes,
You feel like you're in IKEA. It's great. I'd get a Volvo. I'd get a Volvo.
fun car to drive.
I'd get a Volvo. I'd get an RS6. I'd get a Tesla. Those are all the sorts of cars that I'm into. They're really boring. Oh, Mercedes A45. We spoke about this earlier as well. I love that car. I
Yes.
want it.
Knowing
Uh,
you'll probably just buy the Harry Potter bus.
no, mate. I'm not into Harry Potter that much anymore. If I'm honest. No, I'm not. I appreciate what it did for my childhood, but like I don't sit here every day and be like, right, I'm gonna watch Harry Potter now. I did it when I was 12, and that probably explains the bullying, but still. Um, but
Star Wars is better. I'm gonna hurt some people's feelings, but
nah, I think Lord of the Rings is the best out. The kind of the three
oh
big.
god, I
No,
might just leave now.
all right. Well, I think we're kind of approaching the 90-minute mark, and I presume most people have clicked off anyway because we just had
No, I didn't mean that. In
no,
like I'm leaving. I meant I left the chat in the fact that you think
yeah,
Lord of the Rings is
yeah.
better than Star Wars.
But it is, mate. It is, mate. I'm sorry, it is.
No,
Yes,
Gandalf is not better than Darth Vader. Don't give me that.
mate.
Who's cooler, Darth Vader or Gandalf? Leave a comment.
I'm gonna say that I'm on the side of Team Gandalf. Ian McKellen, what a ledge. He fucking died and came back. Darth Vader didn't do that. He just came back as a shitty ghost.
He technically did.
Yeah, but like he came
He
back.
was
No, but like
he was technically dead, and then he got rebuilt. So you can't say that.
no, he didn't die. He didn't
He
die.
could have.
He could have, but he didn't. Like Gandalf died. He died. And then he
Does
just
Gandalf come back as a holy ghost after he dies? I
no. He
didn't
comes
think
back
so.
he comes back as a real person. You know who else did that? Jesus.
Also had a long beard as well.
Yeah, and like, I can't say that Jesus is better. No, sorry, I can't say that Gandalf is better than Jesus because my mum will simply kill me. But what I will say is, did Jesus have a staff? I don't think so. Oh, there's like
Moses did.
oh Moses had a staff. Yeah, do you know what? I think there's a good place to end it
But Darth
because
Maul has technically got a staff that long ass lightsaber, so don't.
That's not a staff. That's a fucking. He died. He died.
He did not die. Watch Rebels.
It depends on if you watch Clone Wars or not. I don't even know if Clone Wars is canon or not. I think it is.
It follows the story. It does.
Okay. Well, I think.
Watch Rebels and Clones, and then you realise that he's alive. And Boba Fett's alive as well.
We're not giving them free advertisement on my podcast. They're not paying anything. I'm not.
No, I don't care. Star Wars is needed to be.
All right. Okay. I think we should end it there though for today because I think we could. We really could go on forever about Ferraris and Star Wars and things.
Maybe music next time.
Yeah. So, Luca, thank you very much for joining me on this podcast. It's been
that's absolutely fine.
And I will hear from you all next week. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
That's it.